Good evening. I'm Patricia Vallone with a CTV News update. President Joe Biden delivers a White House speech aimed at bolstering abortion rights. Biden was joined by Vice President Kamala Harris and HHS Secretary Xavier Becerra. The president laid out his efforts to protect access to reproductive health services in the wake of the Supreme Court's decision overturning Roe v. Wade. Now, Biden today signed an executive order that he says will safeguard access to abortion medication, emergency contraception, and patient privacy.
The court and its allies are committed to moving America backwards with fewer rights, less autonomy, and politicians invading their most personal decisions. Remember, the reason of the decision has an impact much beyond Roe and the right to privacy generally. Marriage equality, contraception, and so much more is at risk. This decision affects everyone, unrelated to choice, beyond choice. We cannot allow an out-of-control Supreme Court working in conjunction with extremist elements of the Republican Party to take away freedoms and our personal autonomy.
His actions today come amid pressure from Democrats who have called for bolder and more urgent action from the White House. Well, day 2 of early voting is underway across Maryland, and this was the scene at the Kentland Community Center this morning. According to election officials, residents who aren't registered to vote can still sign up at the polls. Just bring a document that proves where you live, like your driver's license, ID card, paycheck, or a utility bill. Prince Georgians can register to vote at all of the county's 13 early polling sites. Remember, the early voting period runs until July 14th. A new super PAC called Jobs First PAC forms in Prince George's. Campaign brochures are being sent to county residents supporting an array of Democratic candidates for county council. But according to Maryland Matters, the mailers are being paid for by developers and business leaders. Developers are prohibited from making direct contributions to council members, but have often found ways to skirt the law. The PAC says it's supporting Tom Dernoga, which puzzles the District 1 council member.
It's the same developer group that formed a super PAC 4 years ago to attack me and accuse me of being against churches and unethical. So this time, because I'm unopposed, they want to make their friends look good. So they paired me with their friends. It's not my super PAC. I have nothing to do with the super PAC. And I think it's misleading the voters. You know, and people think that we have an ethics law that keeps developers from supporting council members, but this is the workaround. You create a super PAC, you fund it with the money from the biggest developers in the county, and then they use that to promote the people that they really want to get elected. In my case, I'm unopposed, so that what they tried to do is make the other guys look good next to me. And they've done that. So they've done that in parts of the county. In other parts of the county, they're supporting new council members that they like, who think are going to be very pro-development.
The Jobs First PAC has raised about $90,000 and spent $66,000 on mailings and polling. The biggest donors at $25,000 each are developers with large holdings in the county. As voters trickle into the polls on the first days of early voting, the number of mail-in ballots skyrocket. In 2018, voters requested 42,000 mail-in ballots. This year, 477,000 people requested ballots. Meantime, a preliminary report from the State Board of Elections shows that nearly 20,000 ballots were cast at polling places across Maryland on the first day of early voting. That compares to just over 31,000 on the first day of early voting 4 years ago. Some attribute the lower turnout to a midsummer primary date that was delayed due to redistricting and the rise of mail-in ballots during the pandemic. Meantime, election officials say about 800 voters in Montgomery County were mailed duplicate ballots, and an additional 142 voters in 10 other jurisdictions also received 2 ballots. Well, the COVID positivity rate in Prince George's County is up, as well as hospitalizations. That, according to the state's latest figures. The Maryland Department of Health says that the positivity rate is over 12%. 536 people are in the hospital. That's up 85 since the first of the month. The state has also confirmed 1,873 new cases. 7 Marylanders have died of COVID over the past 24 hours. And you are watching CTV News. I'm Patricia Vallone. We'll be back in just a moment.
What if you could feel in control of your retirement in just a few clicks? At aceyourretirement.org, you can. Start with a free 3-minute chat with Avo, your friendly digital retirement coach. Just answer some simple questions like, how do you feel about your ability to save for retirement? Or in how many years do you want to retire? To get free action items customized just for you, get your retirement back on track at aceyourretirement.org.
A lot of my best memories of the holidays are centered around my grandmother. My grandmother's sweet potato pie, it just felt like a hug. I remember every time we'd come to her house, once you open that door, like it just hits you. And you're like, okay, the pies are ready, it's time. Food is a source of comfort. Food really helps bring people together.
My mom and dad were traditional Asian parents.
Now my father would go to work before I woke up in the morning, and then he would come home too tired to play with me. I tell my son, I love you every single day.
I love you.
Now my dad has never said that to me. Not because he doesn't love me, but because culturally it wasn't comfortable for him. So I teased him the other day and I said, how come you never say that to me? And he said, you're too old now. Now that he's a grandfather, he says, I love you to my son every time he sees him. My advice to all the fathers out there, forget the material things, forget the cultural restrictions. They grow up way too fast for you to waste even a single precious minute or moment.
Say bye-bye. Bye-bye.
Welcome back. The nation's employers added 372,000 jobs to the economy during the month of June. It's widely viewed as a strong gain that will likely spur the Federal Reserve to continue sharply raising interest rates in a move to cool the economy. The unemployment rate remained at 3.6% for the fourth straight month. That matches a nearly 50-year low that was reached before the pandemic hit in early 2020. Strong job gains were seen in healthcare, transportation, hotels, and entertainment. In new efforts to tackle childhood hunger in Montgomery County, officials are creating an Office of Food Systems Resilience. Montgomery County Council President Gabe Albornoz says up to 40,000 local children don't know where their next meal will come from. Officials say one goal is to move away from food giveaways and instead offer more food pantries.
And the stress that families are under trying to determine how they're going to pay for that next meal, any meal for their child, causes a tremendous amount of emotional toll on families. And it doesn't have to be that way. I feel like we are at a point where we can boldly state that we can end childhood hunger here in Montgomery County.
The bill to create the new office will have a final reading on July 12th. Well, 25 states in the U.S. hold special elections to fill vacancies in their state legislatures. Maryland does not. Here, the state constitution calls for county central committees to recommend a replacement from the same party as the former seat holder, who the governor then will appoint. Those appointed members then serve out the remainder of the 4-year term. And those appointed incumbents typically will prevail in elections. In Maryland, 25% of the current House and 30% of the Senate began their legislative careers as appointees. It's a process one government watchdog group wants to change.
I compare this to what happens at the federal level, where when Congressman Elijah Cummings passed away, there was a special election. Nobody stepped up and said, oh, let's let this body fill that seat for now. Instead, there was a special election. Congressman Mfume won that election, and that's when he occupied that seat. And until then, that seat was kept vacant. So I think that's a way of doing it. There's many ways you can structure this, but not having an election is not the solution.
The organization says there has been an attempt to change the current system every year in the House since 2017, but the measures have been tabled in committee. The Senate version, however, has been approved 3 times unanimously and with bipartisan support. Governor Hogan releases funding to expand broadband service across Maryland. Hogan, along with the state's Connect Maryland initiative, has awarded more than $127.6 million to increase high-speed internet and make it affordable for underserved communities. The money will go to local jurisdictions, internet providers, educational, and community organizations.
Our goal is to ensure universal broadband to every single person in every single corner of the state of Maryland. And Connect Maryland is the game-changing initiative.
Officials say the funding will impact about 15,000 households. And we will have more news in just a moment. Don't go away. Stay with us.
Dear humans, I stand here today not for myself, but for every tail wagger, sloppy kisser, and curtain ninja. I stand here for each one of the thousands of dogs and cats killed in shelters each day, asking you to join our cause and help us make sure every best friend has a chance to meet one of their own. With Best Friends Animal Society leading the charge, and your help, we can save them all.
Do you love sports? Then you should know about STEM. Because maximizing nutrition, analyzing peak muscle performance, calculating the perfect shot, and more are all made possible by science, technology, engineering, and math. In fact, there are more careers than ever in sports science. So if you have a passion for sports, then think about getting involved in STEM and improve everyone's game on and off the field. Get inspired at shecanstem.com.
To Sofia and Gabriel, mis flores, my little flowers. Even though these old knees can't follow on your adventure to the forest today, these flowers represent my love, so you can take me with you wherever you go, near or far. These stitches and threads join us together. Me, your mother, and both of you. And wherever you see a flower, a bird, a beautiful tree, know that my love is with you as you bring our colorful stories to the world.
Make the forest part of your story at a park near you. Find one at discovertheforest.org.
Thanks for staying with us. Well, Prince George's police are investigating a homicide that happened in the Chilam area. The department has not released much information, but they do say that the incident happened in the 2000 block of Oglethorpe Street at just before 5 o'clock last night. Police were called to an apartment for a welfare check. They found a woman. She was pronounced dead at the scene. Anyone who has information is asked to call police. And the Comptroller's office reminds Marylanders that there's 1 week left to file state income tax returns for 2021. This is even after the previous date was extended by 3 months. This is the third consecutive year that the office has extended filing and payment deadlines. For additional information, you can visit marylandtaxes.gov. And turning now to your weather forecast, tonight a chance of thunderstorms with lows near 71. Saturday, showers likely, highs around 75, and Sunday, mostly sunny conditions. We'll have high temperatures in the low 80s. Monday, sunny skies again, highs around 84. And that is your CTV News Update. I'm Patricia Vallone. Have a great weekend.
Last week, Brandon met a girl on a dating app. One day after work, he finally found the courage to ask her out. No answer. He started to panic. Was he being too pushy? Maybe it was too...
Hey, sorry I didn't respond. I was driving. I would love to go on a date. How does tonight sound?
Brandon tried to play it cool, but inside he knew. A girl so smart, so responsible, she must be a keeper.